Hello, Mike. How are you?
Good, Steve.
Where are we today?
We're at Waikiki at the Outrigger Canoe Club, right in front of a surf spot called Old Man's.
Oh, wow. And we're very close to Diamond Head, correct?
We are just on the slope of Diamond Head, bottom slope, bottom edge.
Yeah. And how many years have you been swimming out here and around the channels of Hawaii?
You know, for as long as I can remember. I started surfing when I was 14 off these shores here, and started swimming when I was like 15 or 16 in high school, and started doing ocean swims here. After we do the rough water swim. Did water polo in the summers, so it's been kind of a ocean life for me.
Yeah. And for those of us that out there that don't know what you've done, what have you done in the Hawaiian Channel?
I've swum all 9 channels. Did a relay with a group including Linda Kaiser from Oahu to Kauai, which is over 70 miles. And I've kayaked around almost every island.
Really? Oh, wow.
And I've sailed my sailing canoe between all of the islands from Big Island to Niihau. So I've had quite an experience, multi-leveled experience in these channels. And I think definitely the swimming is the most extreme way to cross the channels, because the kayaking and canoeing is it's a lot easier and safer because you're up on top of the surface instead of down with the creatures.
Yeah. Can you just give us a general overview of all the dangers? I mean, obviously there's current, there's marine life. Swimming in sort of friendly waters like a pool or a lake is, completely different from swimming in the Pacific Ocean, especially in the warm water ocean. As you probably know, there's big fish in the warm ocean, and they're to be reckoned with. And there's little fish to be reckoned with. There's Portuguese man-o-war, there's jellyfish, there's a whole series of obstacles, including currents, wind, waves. There's a lot of things that affect crossing a channel. And so in order to successfully swim a channel, you need to be prepared, you have to have good planning, you got to have logistics, you have to have a good escort and a good support team on the escort boat, and all those things have to be well thought through, or else you're going to end up in a failure. And there's more opportunities for failure than there are for success. I mean, there's all these things that can work against you. In Hawaii, we have some of the roughest water in the world, because the channels have current running through the channels and wind, and sometimes the wind and the current oppose each other, creating some very rough conditions. So it's as I look back at the accomplishments that myself and Linda Kaiser have done, having swum all the channels, it's sort of insane. I mean, it's a crazy thing to have accomplished, and I have no idea what possessed us to do it, because it's so difficult. Yeah. And looking back at all the obstacles and the things that have affected us, it's mind-boggling. Yeah. But having said that, being a lover of the ocean and loving surfing and swimming and being in the ocean in every possible form, there's sort of an end game to it, and that is extra water time. So if you're going to do a long swim, you can look forward to being in the ocean for a long time, and that's what we love to do. So that is sort of the bonus, is that good, we're going to have an 8-hour playtime in the ocean today. So, well,
hooray.
8 hours. I mean, in your case, it's much more than 8 hours in some cases.
This when we did the relay to Kauai, it took us almost 48 hours. Yeah. We did it in 47:53, so it's just under 2 days of swimming. So it was night and day, and in the course of that swim, we encountered Portuguese man-o-war that stung 5 out of the 6 of us badly. And we also, one of our swimmers, Linda Kaiser, had a tiger shark come up underneath her. No telling how many other sharks may have showed up that we didn't see in the dark. Yeah. And just being able to stay fed for that long, and just to get enough rest, it was quite a challenge.
Yeah.
So that was quite an extreme event, even though it was a relay. But like the Molokai Swim, took me 15 hours and 15 minutes, and that was a long period in the water.
Yeah.
And
which direction did you go?
We started from Molokai to Oahu.
Okay.
We had good conditions. We started at night. There was a lot of dark swimming, and there was a strong current at the finish that we had to push through to get to the shoreline. And the start is always, when you jump in the water in the dark, it always plays with your mind. You start wondering why you're doing this when you're sitting there on the warm boat and you have to jump into the cold water and swim to shore and get out of the water and then start your long journey.
Are you fearful?
Yeah, I think it is a cautious awareness that overwhelms you. And I think if you were fearful, you probably wouldn't be doing it. So you're aware of the risk, and you're trying to prevent injury to yourself through good planning. Like, I was bitten by a cookie cutter shark on my first attempt to swim from the Big Island to Maui.
And how many miles is that?
That is 33 miles.
Okay.
So when I was, I jumped in the water at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I had planned it to swim at night and then arrive the next day. And I wasn't really, when I run the video of the things in the water that I'm worried about, the cookie cutter shark never even was a cameo role. Didn't even show up on the credits. I'm looking at the great white, the tiger, the oceanic white tip. All these are the common sharks that you got to think, fish in the water you got to worry about that are in your like the Jaws mentality.
Yeah.
The little cookie cutter is only like 20, 30 inches. It's a small little shark, but it's one of the most aggressive sharks in the ocean.
Really?
And I got into the channel about 10 miles into it, and I was feeling really good. I had this mindset, I'm going to do this. I'm going to finish this channel.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I got hit in the chest.
Really?
And I don't know if I can...
Yeah.
I'll show you this little...
Okay, yeah.
You see this scar
Oh,
here?
wow.
Well, that. This is my Portuguese man of war from last Saturday. One of them. But you see that's so I got nipped here, and then all of a sudden, I'm climbing out. I knew I was in trouble. Something really dangerous is in the water.
And blood was drawn at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm getting out. The swim's over.
Yeah.
Because I know there's something mean out there. So I'm getting into the kayak, and all of a sudden I get this really sharp pain in my calf. And so this is the result of that.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh.
Okay, so that is the result of being bitten by a cookie cutter shark. They have very sharp teeth. They penetrate your skin, and then they twirl, and they carve out a cookie cutter shaped chunk of meat, like sashimi. They do this in a symbiotic manner with fish. And they eat the skin and the meat, the flesh they get, and the fish live. And if you look at fish in the fish market, a lot of times you'll see cookie cutter marks. They're not that uncommon. They fish. They live at 3,000 feet, and they come up at night. And feed at night.
Okay.
So I'm the only human that's ever been bitten by one.
Oh my God.
So they will. But I think the reason I got bitten by this cookie cutter shark is that when I was swimming, they were having trouble seeing me. So they turned lights on the boat, and they started attracting squid.
Okay.
And the squid are bait for other fish, and the cookie cutters like to eat the fish.
Okay.
The skin of the fish. So it was like we created a bait ball.
Oh, gosh.
So I was getting hit by the squid, so I knew that something, that I was in the bait ball moving through the ocean. So we kind of created our own little environment for that.
So now you got this flesh out of you. Blood is going all over the place. Now, what does your crew do? Which included Linda.
Yeah. So I'm out of the water into the kayak, two of us in a one-man kayak balancing it, worrying about the next strike. Yeah. And we call the escort boat over, and they come in, and then I get into the escort boat, and they put gauze and duct tape on it, and then rush me to the hospital.
But you're 10 miles from shore, correct?
No, I'm...
Or more?
30 miles from the dock, because I'm 10 miles off the starting line from the Big Island, and I got to go all the way to Maui to get to the hospital.
Oh.
So so I'm in the hospital about 4 hours later, getting it scrubbed out, and I'm out of the water. So as soon as that thing bit, I made a mindset, I'm going to come back and do this channel.
Really?
I want to finish this channel. So I was just chomping to get back and start training.
Really?
Start swimming again. But
there was no fear. It was
there was like cautious concern, and I gotta do a different strategy.
Yeah.
I can't swim at night. I can't swim with the lights on. I'm gonna have to swim at night because it's a 20-hour swim for me.
Yeah.
So I just want to time it so I'm dark on either end of the swim and not so much in the middle.
Got it.
The deeper water. So it took almost 6 months for it to completely heal. So I was out of the water for 4 of those months, and then I started swimming, training, and then obsessed with training to get back in the water to do the swim.
Wow.
And I'm 63 years old, so you can imagine what's going on in my mind. The clock is ticking.
Yeah.
I gotta get this over with. I can't be 7 years old when I do it. And so I needed to have the perfect conditions of tide, wind, currents. And so to the best of my knowledge, I tried to chart out the period in the cycle, the moon cycle, current cycle, weather cycle that would work. And so finally hit a day, and the day was on a Sunday, and on Friday I'm assembling my crew. On Friday I'm trying to put it together. That was that. So Saturday we moved to the Big Island, and then and that was just last Sunday.
Yeah.
And again, so Linda was part of the support crew. She was a big part of it. And so here it is, 2 o'clock in the morning, the alarm goes off. And I get up, and I'm going, what am I doing out here at 2 in the morning? So we move up to the starting line at 3 in the morning, and then it's pitch black, no moon, nothing. So I got to jump in the water, swim to shore, get out of the water, jump in, start swimming, and I've got, 18, 19, 20 hours ahead of me. And so it was like the first obstacle was to get through the dark.
Okay.
So I got through the dark. No cookie cutter. Thank God. We had no lights on. Then.
But how did you have glow sticks or?
No, nothing.
Not really.
Zero.
Oh,
Zero.
Wow.
But you can see.
Okay.
You can see. And then actually the moon did come out in the latter part of that morning. The moon did finally come up, but with the starlight and whatnot, I was swimming close enough to the boat so you could see me. So then right when we got to 10 miles offshore where the cookie cutter got me, I spotted an oceanic whitetip. Now this is an aggressive shark. It's probably
how big is it?
8 foot. So it's probably, if you read about the oceanic whitetips, they're one of the most aggressive sharks in the ocean. They're the ones that take the guys that are shipwrecked.
Okay.
They used to be the most common shark in warm waters, but with the bycatch and shark finning, their numbers are way down. But they're opportunists, and that's part of the reason there are not too many of them is that they just take the baits. They're not too discriminating. So that was a concern, and it came, it left, and it came back, and then it left. So, but from then on, I was really, really
now when it
high alert.
Came and went, was there a fin out of the water, or did you see it in the depths? How did you know it was there?
I just, when you're swimming long distance, you're not really concentrating on. You kind of get zoned out.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I just happened to focus a little bit on what's my surrounding. I saw this thing in the distance, and I focused on it. Oh my God, it's a shark. So then after that incident, about midway through the channel, the wind started coming up and it got really rough, and that was very disappointing. At that same time, I got a Portuguese man of war wrapped around me, and I'm gonna want to see the little mark?
Please. We like these visuals.
Yeah. But
oh my gosh.
I don't know if you can see.
Yes.
Can you see?
Yes. Oh, and this was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it's on my neck. I don't know if you see my neck.
Yes.
So that was really painful. And Portuguese men of war have stopped people from swimming channels. So what happened?
Oh wait, so you're hit and it hurts. Now, what is going through your head? I'm not going to get out, or I just got.
What's going through my head was, is there going to be another one? Am I going to swim into a patch of these things? I can take one hit. This was a big hit.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a little glancing blow. It was a big hit. So what was going on in my mind is that hopefully I'm not going to run into another one, because I don't want to die out here and sink to the bottom.
Right.
So I decided in my mind, I said, if I get hit by another one, that means there's multiple out here.
Yeah.
I'm going to just try and swim through this one and see what happens. So the other thing that kind of compelled me to keep swimming is that twice as sore if you come out. If the air gets on these things, they're really sore. So being in the water is kind of soothing, the cold water.
Right.
So that was another reason I wanted to stay in.
Now, is it a burning sensation? Is it like a branding iron?
I'll tell you what I'll give you a good example of what it's like. If you poured gasoline on yourself and then lit it, that's about how it feels. I'm serious. It is like the most excruciating pain that you could ever imagine. And my right leg started to get limp on me, and then I started getting a cramp in my stomach. And that, those two things, I was thinking, well, I hope I'm not gonna.
Is that, do you think, toxic shock or what?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But as half an hour later, an hour later, I was feeling better. 2 hours later, 3 hours later,
and you weren't getting hit.
I wasn't getting hit again. So after about 4 hours, I was kind of getting through it, but it was still painful. It was painful for 24 hours.
Really?
But the pain had started going down. So I got through that. So then it starts getting dark again, and then the wind starts dying down.
Now, how close are you to the finish at this point?
3 miles off the island now. So I'm in my mind, nothing's going to stop me now. And all of a sudden, a fish bumps into me in the dark, and I'm going, oh my God, is this a cookie cutter shark incident again? And so I only had the one bump, but it just hit my arm, something soft, and then it disappeared. And then from
you don't know what it was.
No.
Okay.
And then from then on, I stopped taking feedings, and I picked up my pace, and I started. I had adrenaline going from that little bump and from the cookie cutter and being close to getting to the finish. So that was a super accomplishment for me to have pushed through these obstacles. I was so obsessed with doing this thing. I was so committed that it was going to take something major to stop me from finishing this swim. And getting to shore, coming to a bay that I'm familiar with, because I know Maui very well. It was just like coming home. It was so gratifying, and I had a great crew supporting me, and it was like a team effort. We all kind of rejoiced in the accomplishment, and I just was super ecstatic, and haven't come down off that coconut tree yet. I'm still giddy about doing it. It's been a week since we did that.
So you've done all 9 channels. And when you started, what was your first channel crossing?
That was from Lanai to Maui.
Okay. Now, when you did that, could you imagine several years later you have done?
I had no idea. I mean, that was just like a one-time thing. And then I met Linda, and Linda was interested in swimming the channels, and me and Linda became close friends, and I thought, great, if Linda wants to swim the channels, I'm going to support her 100%. It was more like, I don't really want to swim them, but if she wants to, I'll go with her.
Okay.
We'll be buddies, And then pretty soon, it became like we both kind of got obsessed with this. Okay, what's going to be our next one,
Okay.
And so we would collaborate, and we'd train together whenever I was here or there. She'd come up to Maui, and we would train, and we would scheme, and we started to swim these channels together. And I remember, I think one of the first ones we did, Linda, was from Maui to Molokai. And this is when I really realized that she was in it for keeps, because we encountered a big shark. And it might have been a bronze whaler. I'm not sure what kind of shark it was. But it was a big critter. It came up. And I thought, okay, this is the end of the swim. Linda's going to get out and start screaming. And she was so calm and so cool. We just sat there and watched it. I said, okay, you want to get out? No, let's finish the swim. So we kept going. And
so you both saw it.
We both saw it.
And you're egg beatering in the middle of the ocean.
We're not doing too much motion.
Okay.
We're pretty much in this quiet zone, quietly watching it. But we're staying together in a little pod, so we look a little twice as big as a single person floating there. And so then we did. From then on, we partnered up and we started doing channels that nobody had ever swum before.
Explain which ones those?
So we swam from Kauai to Niihau.
Okay.
We were the first to swim that channel, and that was very difficult for me. It was probably my most difficult channel, and I just don't think my mechanics was that good, and I was very hurting towards the end of that channel. And that was only under 12 hours.
Okay.
And then we swam from Kaho'olawe to Lanai, and that was another long swim, that was close to 20 miles. And we swam from Maui to Kaho'olawe. I think we were the first to swim that direction.
Okay.
And that was kind of interesting because it was a very rough day.
Okay.
And Linda called and said, Mike, the weather's horrible, maybe we shouldn't go. I said, just show up. Because I had a plan. We were going to body surf over there. So that's what we did. We went up to La Perouse, and we went ashore there, and we caught the wind coming from the Alenuiha Channel, and it was blowing like 25, and we had 4 to 8 foot waves, and we body surfed all the way to Kaho'olawe. It was really, really quite exciting. And
now, on all these swims that you're doing, do you have the same pilot, or you had the same?
We have had very good support from Jim Dixon for the Maui swims, and he also escorted us on the Molokai to Oahu swim. The Kauai, when we swam from Kauai to Niihau, we had a Kauai boat take us over there, a guy that knew the channel really well. And then when we did the relay from Oahu to Kauai, we had the Kiloa, my boat, with a crew escort us on that one. And so then we also did the Molokai to Lanai. So we did all the Maui swim. And then the hardest swim is this Alenuiha. And Harry Huffaker swam it. He tried it once and he failed and got stuck in a current off the island, and he tried it again and he made it. And then nobody.
So people out there understand that's from the Big Island to Maui.
Big Island to Maui, about 33 miles. And then after he swam it, there was for 30 years or longer nobody swam it. And then Penny Palfrey swam it. And she swam it actually on a very rough day, and she did a fairly long course. And then Linda swam it. So proud of her, she swam it. I attempted it and got the cookie cutter bite, so I was off on the shelf. But she pulled it off on her own, and phenomenal accomplishment to swim that channel.
Hello, Linda.
Hey, Steve, how's it?
Good. So I understand you're the instigator of all these channel swims.
I don't remember it being that way. I met Mike on my second channel swim. I had called him. Someone said, call Mike Spalding. He lives on Maui. Maybe he can find you an escort boat. And we were going to swim from Maui to Molokai.
Okay. Which is how far?
About 9 to 11 miles.
All right.
And so I called him, and he recommended a guy, and then he says, can I swim with you? And I said, well, as long as you swim my pace. I said, it's my boat, but you can come. So he showed up with his peanut butter sandwiches and mango smoothies, and off we went.
Okay.
And
did he go your pace?
Yeah, we are very compatible.
Okay.
We swim together very well.
Okay.
And I'm lucky. I breathe on my left, he breathes on his right.
Okay.
So
okay.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're really good. And so off we went, and we got about 45 minutes from land, and we had been swimming pretty far apart from each other.
Okay.
And I looked over to my left, and I see this little P coming up from the bottom, and kind of kept an eye on it, and all of a sudden I realized it's a shark.
Oh.
It's a big shark, and it's coming straight up.
Oh.
And so I must have walked on water over to Mike, and I grabbed him, and he kind of was startled, and he looked up, and he goes, what? And I go, there's a shark. And he says, where? And I go, right there. And about this time, the shark made a right turn and was coming directly at us.
Oh.
And the boat had just taken off, and it was a big catamaran or something. It was a big boat, so it wasn't about to come back for us. And in those days, we didn't have kayakers next to us. We just swam. So the shark went underneath us. I grabbed Mike, he grabbed me, and he was going to punch it. He raised his fist, and he was going to punch this shark. And all I could think of was, oh my God, he's going to punch the shark. The shark's going to get mad. He's going to bite Mike's hand off. And the shark went under us and turned around and came back, and went under us and turned around and came back, and then just went like where it came from and went straight down again.
Oh my gosh.
And Mike looked at me and he goes, you okay? And I go, let's go. And we were about 45 minutes off of Molokai, and we got there, and the boat guy says, oh, come down here, there's a break in the reef. And Mike looked at me, and I looked at him, and we went over the reef into shallow water. So that was my first experience with Mike. And then he'd keep calling me and go, hey, I got this great idea. Let's do this swim from, here to there. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
So he just kept reeling me in.
Got it.
So as far as me being the instigator, I don't know about that.
Okay. But you two are the only people who have done all 9 channels.
Yeah, we did. We've done 8 solos and 1 with a relay.
Yeah. And what was the most difficult one for you of all of those?
Probably Alinui Haha. I started at night.
Okay.
At a time when Mike told me not to start. But I was sitting there off Upolu Point at about 7 o'clock, and I just started getting amped and thinking dark thoughts. And so finally I just said, guys, we're going to go at 9 o'clock. So I actually swam through the night.
Oh.
And it was something that I had really thought about anyway, because I was afraid that the winds would come up and it would be too strong and I wouldn't be able to finish. And I'm not sure if I didn't finish that I would go back and do it again. It was just kind of a scary channel for me.
Okay. How many hours was that swim?
16 hours and 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it all worked out. I saw 3 sharks along the way. They kind of checked me out.
Oh my God.
I saw one the last one I saw about 2 miles from shore, and he just kind of came straight at me. And I remember looking up and seeing the fin and thinking it was a dolphin. And I thought, oh, how wonderful, dolphin. I haven't really seen anything but sharks all day. It was a shark. And it came straight for me, and the guys on the boat were just having a heart attack. There again, I just had a paddler with me at night, and then the paddler got out during the day, so I was just basically following the boat. But it just, I think I was emitting so much hatred at this shark that he would even think about trying to stop my swim 2 miles from shore, that he just kind of went past me about arm's length away and just kept going.
Arm's length?
Arm's length,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
now, was he bigger than you?
Oh, anything's bigger than me, Steve. Yeah, he was probably 8 to 10 foot.
Oh my gosh.
So, but being in Hawaii, that's you see sharks.
Yeah.
You see sharks, and they usually just come by you and check you out. And the only shark that really has scared me was the tiger shark. And it was a tiger shark.
Okay.
That came up directly underneath me, just straight up. And the only reason I know it was a tiger shark was because I had asked some experts, and I described it as being just this box, just this square box head, because I never saw the body. That's how directly underneath me it was.
Oh.
And they said it was a tiger shark, and it's probably a brown 10-footer.
Oh.
So, and it scared me because you.
Now, how far were you from shore?
No, we were in the middle of the channel going from Oahu to Kauai.
Oh, so you're 30 miles from...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and so I screamed. It sounds like a wimp, but it really, really startled me because my head was in the water, I took a breath, head went back in the water, and it was there, like 6 feet underneath me. And so, I just went over to the boat and got out.
Yeah.
And then the other guy jumped in. Poor Randy Brown, I'll tell you. But so we just continued, but never saw him again. And I was the only one that saw him.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then Mike was describing how Portuguese men of war feel on one skin. How would you describe?
It's very sore, but I'll tell you, the box jellyfish that we have here on a monthly basis are even worse.
Really?
And you cannot see them at all. The man-o-war you can see sometimes. You can see the blue bubble. The box jellyfish are under the water.
Yeah.
And luckily we can predict them now. So 8 to 10 days after the full moon, I don't go in the ocean at all. And I mean that I ended up in the hospital after being stung by.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And that was not a pleasant experience.
Oh, so what drives you? You've got box jellyfish, you got Portuguese man-o-war branding you got sharks that are scaring you and coming so close, but you still head to the ocean.
I know. I think we're really possessed.
But it's beautiful here.
It is beautiful. I mean, the waters are so gorgeous. I mean, when you look underneath you and you just see blue and you know, sometimes dolphins will come by, and I swim off of Waikiki here every weekend. And I mean, we see dolphin, we see turtle, we see fish. In the channels you really don't see anything.
Okay.
I remember the first channel I did, which was from Lanai to Maui. I thought, being in a channel, I'd see marlin or mahi-mahi or, you know, all these big, deep water fish, and you don't see anything. It's very interesting. You know, you just kind of go into your little zone and just everything goes through your mind, but nothing stays. Right?
Got it. That's interesting how you put it.
I mean, it just, you know, you just play everything, but nothing, you don't retain anything.
Yeah.
Of course, it may be because the mind's gone anyway, you know.
Yeah. So what is you start a swim, you swim for a half an hour feed. What is your pattern as you're going through all these
I feed every hour.
Every hour.
I know Mike likes to feed every half hour, but I like to get into a rhythm. And for me, every half hour is just disrupts me.
Okay.
So I'll feed every hour, and then as I get more tired or closer to shore, then I might drop it down to every half hour.
And what do you take?
All liquid. My stomach
liquid.
can't handle
Okay.
solid food at all.
Okay.
So I just mix up my little hammer gel and perpetuum and whatever and just drink that.
Okay. And you have no problem staying up for all this, because you have to be a little bit nervous before you do a swim.
Yeah.
And then you're swimming for 8, 10, 12, 15, 16 hours. And do you get sleepy out there?
No, and I think part of it is because part of you goes someplace else. I mean, I think you're in such a meditative state that maybe you don't realize that you are awake.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it. I mean, swimming out in the ocean, the middle of the ocean, in the pitch dark is just, it's scary, but it's comforting at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel that my father's out there, and I have a friend that did some channels with me, and we scattered her ashes. And when we scattered her ashes out here in Waikiki, a seabird came over, and every time I swim a channel, the seabird comes over me. And
wow.
I mean, I just feel very comforted when I see her.
Yeah.
And, Mike knows. Whenever I say Janice is here, that either something really, really exciting is going to happen or nothing's going to happen.
Got it. And then, can you describe that feeling when you reach shore and you've touched terra firma?
Yeah, it's indescribable, really. I mean, it's just, you want to cry, you want to laugh, you want to, you know, it's just like, man, I did this.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you have to do it yourself. I mean, you have to have the mental fortitude, and you have to plan it, and you have to train for it, and it's all you. I mean, you can't, nobody else can do this for you.
Yeah.
So,
and what is that bonding that I sense in all the different escort teams? When you've got a group of people on an escort boat and you're out there swimming, you know they're pulling for you, and you know they're looking out for you.
Yeah.
Can you describe that?
I never really got a sense of family with any of my escort people until we did the Oahu to Kauai swim, and we had 6 crew members on there, and they were the most unselfish, giving, caring people I've ever been around. I mean, I think that they would have given me an extra arm had I needed it. It was just an incredible feeling.
Who were those people?
They were basically friends of Mike, and the wife of one of the swimmers. And I mean, they gave up their bunks for us to sleep, and I mean, they couldn't do enough for us. It was amazing.
Yeah. And how do you train for all these swims?
I swim. I just swim and swim and swim. For the Alanui Haha channel, I was telling Mike, I was doing 8 to 10 hour swims every weekend. Before that.
How many weeks before?
Probably at least 6 weeks out.
Really?
Yeah.
So you did 6 8 to 10 hour swims.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back and forth across Waikiki.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a 4-mile course. You can go down and back. And come out and get something to eat and drink, because I don't take an escort for that.
Yeah.
And I get a couple friends to swim 1 or 2 laps with me. And so, but I basically just have to swim and swim and swim.
Yeah.
I'm a little insecure about that.
No, well, you're very well prepared. That's for sure.
Yeah, but it's quite a feat.
And you don't have any aches or pains or other things that are happening to your body?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't just swim. I mean, I do triathlons.
Okay.
I've done, I do runs and swims and triathlons, and I paddle. I paddle one man.
Okay.
I also race 2-mans. I have a paddle partner that we are the only 2 women to do a 2-man across Molokai.
Okay.
So I'm just basically out and about.
Yeah.
But I love the water. That's my passion.
Yeah. When did you start swimming?
I don't know that I ever wasn't swimming.
Oh, really?
I have pictures. I was born in Hilo, and they have hot springs near Hilo. And I have a picture of me when I was probably 6 months old with my dad in the hot springs.
Really?
And then when we moved to Oahu, we used to swim at the natatorium where Duke Hanamoku and Johnny Weissmuller, and it's just a huge saltwater pool that is now closed. But we spent all day, every day in the summer in the natatorium.
Okay.
And we always swam.
Yeah.
Growing up in Hawaii, that's what you do.
Yeah.
You swim.
Yeah. And what do you want to share to the next generation of swimmers that come after you? Is there some secrets that you and Mike have learned? And
I think the ocean keeps you young. I think the ocean is a great comforter to you if you let it be. I think it washes away a lot of mental and physical pain. And I think that the kids nowadays, I mean, they have to set a goal, and hopefully they can achieve it. But if they don't, it doesn't mean that they're a loser. I mean, everybody, has different levels, and I think nowadays, if you're not a winner, people think they're a loser, and it's not true. You have to get out there and do it. And if you can achieve, say you want to go out and swim in the ocean for 15 minutes, and if you can achieve that, then that's great.
Yeah.
But they have to have dreams.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can achieve their dreams.
Yeah. And growing up in Hilo, did you imagine you'd swim all 9 channels?
I never even thought until I did Molokai, and I only had one more channel to do, that it would even happen.
Okay. And how many years was it between the first channel and the last channel?
Probably 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We started swimming in, I think, the mid-'80s.
Okay.
And I just did the last channel last year or a couple years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's kind of pick and choose.
And in between there, you've done little swims here. And,
sure, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
One of the most fun things we do is like I'll go over to Maui, and Mike will do like a La Perouse to Wailea swim.
Oh, just
go out and swim for a day or so. And,
oh wow.
Yeah, or we went to the North Shore of Molokai and swam for 3 days and camped along the way, and
really,
it was awesome. Yeah. So.
God, you should have tours over here. People around the world would come and love to experience what you guys experienced.
Yeah. I look at these people that are swimming in 60-degree water, and I'm just like in awe of them, because I can't do that. Yeah. I'm just totally warm water baby. Cold water does not excite me whatsoever.
Yeah, and sharks and box jellyfish. And
oh yeah, well. But it's a privilege to see a shark. I mean, I think that the oceans are being fished out, and to see a shark it's phenomenal. They're beautiful, beautiful creatures. And I try to tell people, just because you see a shark, he's not going to come up and bite you.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just checking you out.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. So I wanted to ask you about you're swimming together, and a shark's coming up, and Mike grabs you and is ready to punch the shark. Can you explain that?
He had me right. He was on my right, and he takes my arm, so we're this big thing instead of two single people. And the shark is coming like straight for us, and he's going to punch it. And I'm like, and he's got his fist cocked, and I'm like, he's going to hit the shark. His hand's going to go in the shark's mouth. The shark's going to cut him. And the boat is off. I mean, it's not even near us. And I'm like, oh my God. And at the last minute, the shark goes underneath us, and we're lying flat on top of the water with our legs up in the air. And the shark just goes underneath us like 4 times and then just goes off.
So, Mike, I know the standard wisdom is you got to punch the shark in the nose. I know that's a standard wisdom. But there's something else to be actually out there in the open ocean, away from your escort boat, and you got your fist raised. What were you thinking?
Only weapon you got. Now, here's the deal. Wait, escort boat's normally supposed to be right next to you.
Yeah.
If you get rushed by a shark, you get out of the water.
Yeah.
That's the protocol. But, 4 hours into this swim, we have the sailboat, and they're just going along, and they lost their consciousness. They weren't paying attention. So we stopped, and they just kept going. And, sailboat takes a while to turn around.
Yeah.
And so it's just 2 of us out there with the shark, and it got really close, and luckily for us, it wasn't interested in taking a bite out of us, but we had to do whatever we had to do.
But you were thinking so clearly. You got together. And
we made a larger mast.
Okay.
And then when it got close, what I did is I slapped the water.
Okay.
To give it a little. Sometimes that'll distract, turn them away. They feel a little aggression coming from me. And but we're ready. If it was going to come after us, we weren't going to go down without a fight. We'd give it all we got. And,
were you going to give it an uppercut or a straight jab?
You watch the mixed martial arts fighting. You see those guys get hooked sometimes. To try and throw one of those haymakers at it. But fortunately, if it got down to where we're trying to fight it off. There's not much hope for us. Because they have the advantage in the water. We're just sitting ducks for them. So fortunately that worked out okay for us.
And what's amazing is listening to both of you talk about your swims. This partnership that you have. This ability to say let's do it, and the other person is okay. And both of you are raising the bar.
I know. Mike keeps pushing that thing up and up and up, and I'm like, oh man.
The beautiful thing about Linda is that she always is game. When I asked her, can you help me on the Big Island swim? Last minute, I'm calling her up, Thursday afternoon. Hey, she goes. She doesn't hesitate. I'm in, Mike. I'm in to help you. Whatever I can do, just let me know where I got to be when, and so that was my first commitment, my first crew member. And then I went to the next guy, and they said, "Yeah, I'm in." Then the next person, and we slowly filled the team, and we ended up with 5 support people, all on Friday, leaving Saturday, swimming Sunday, coming back Sunday night. So, and all of them unconditionally committed to be part of this, phenomenal event. They realized that this thing was a lifelong goal of mine, and they wanted to support it and be part of it, and they deserve the credit as well for their steadfast support in making it happen.
Funny story. We're on the boat, and the wind's starting to come up, and the guys and I are talking, and we're looking at the time, and we're going. I told the guys, I said, man, this is getting really bad. This might be a 24-hour swim. And so we go to feed Mike, and Mike comes up, and we give him the food, and he goes, what time is it? So we told him, and he goes, this is going to take me like 20 hours. And we just started laughing because we were going, well, we weren't going to tell you that, Mike. And he goes, I can do the math. Drops everything and starts swimming. And we're like, okay.
Now, this is on the second.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Can you explain what happened when he got out of the boat and what you were doing after the cookie cutter shark attack? What were you?
It was really, we were going along and we were about to feed him, and it was 8 o'clock at night, so it was, you know, his feeding time, and the way the boat was positioned, we had to like come around somehow, so we were probably the furthest away that we could have been from him, and he had the kayaker next to him, so we weren't kind of worried about that. But all of a sudden, and he had a light, a little red light on the front of the kayak, and all of a sudden the light went out, and we thought, oh, the kayak flipped. And then all of a sudden on the walkie-talkie, because the escort carries a walkie-talkie, there was like, come pick us up, and we're like, oh my God. So, and we couldn't see him because the light had gone out. And so one of the guys ran up to the top of the boat to get the light to shine on to find him.
Yeah.
And then Mike came on the walkie-talkie and he said, pick us up now. And we're like, we're scared. We don't know what happened. So, I mean, it was like you blinked. The boat was right next to Mike. We grabbed Mike. We grabbed the kayak. We grabbed the kayaker. Everybody's in the boat, and there's blood everywhere. And we're like, oh, my God. And I don't know what possessed me. I don't know anything about cookie cutter sharks, but I looked at his leg, and I go, oh, cookie cutter. And the guys kind of looked at me going, you know, like, yeah, right. And they thought it was a barracuda or an ono or something. And I'm like, no, it's a cookie cutter. So we got him into the bunk, and we got his leg up, and I grabbed his leg, and I was squeezing below the cut, the big hole. And I'm looking into his leg, and I'm going, oh, I guess that's an Achilles tendon, and I guess that's this tendon and that tendon. And
you could see it all.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now is Mike? You know, now this is a man who's ready to punch a shark in the middle of the ocean. Now is he crying? Is he screaming in pain? Is he grinning and bearing it?
He's grinning and bearing it, man.
God.
Not a word. Not a word.
You know, it wasn't that sore at first. It was sort of numb.
Okay.
And you know, luckily I had some really confident people on board, and they got it tightly wound up with duct tape and gauze, and then we had some. But then after about an hour, it started to really get sore.
And it took us 3 hours at full blast to get back to the dock.
And I assume the boat's going up and down.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're just hauling. And they got him back to the dock. His wife was there with a car and took him away.
And then, you know, there's a plastic surgeon that does all the shark bites. So we called him at home. We got his home number, called him, and he said, don't worry, I'll meet you down there. So he met us in the hospital, and he cleaned out the wound. But the funny thing is, when I was getting checked into the hospital, I mean, here I am, a shark bite, you know,